the central exploration that my work is about is um, investigating the way in which what's here, the presence of what's here right now, is beyond any possibility of actually knowing what it is, of actually being able to contain it in any kind of descriptive framework. And this single discovery um, is from my perspective, is what liberation is about, what the spiritual teachings are pointing to when they talk about liberation. It's really freedom from all of our ideas, freedom from all the notions we carry about what this is, um, all the notions we carry about what we are, what others are. And this indescribable, indefinable nature of what's here can be discovered simply by investigating the presence of our experience. It can be very helpful to, we can't really get rid of, nor do we need to get rid of our interpretations of things. That's a fool's errand, I think. Our knowledge, our seeming knowledge of phenomena is just here very spontaneously. The sense of you being, the idea that we're on a Zoom call, for example, is here just spontaneously. You can't really eradicate that idea. It's just here as a function of the astonishing intelligence of consciousness that is rendering the myriad things that are arising, this sea of information and an energy that we seem to be swirling in the midst of. And so we don't have to get rid of those interpretations. But what we can do is begin to distinguish what's actually here, what's actually showing up in the immediacy of experience that is actually not an interpretation, even if an interpretation may be being layered on it to try to convey what it is, to characterize what it is, to seemingly know what it is. So let's just take a few moments and feel the presence of our experience, which is a little bit of a funny thing to say because that's all that's ever going on, is we're feeling the presence of our experience. Always. I mean, when is that not happening? We're always feeling the presence of our experience. But let's just bring a little noticing to that fact right now. That experience is being felt. Feel the presence of your experience. And no matter how many labels maybe consciousness or the mind, whatever we want to call that function of life, is layering on top of what's here, no matter what the frameworks are that are being put on experience to describe it, just continue to feel what's here, the felt sense of what's here. Or let's take one aspect of something we would describe that we just take for granted as being what we say it is, which is the body. We have a label for this thing called the body. And The label is referring to something that's being experienced, something that's being felt, something that's being encountered. And so I invite you into now, in the case of the body, what we call body, to feel what is actually being encountered, that the label body is referring to. What is that? What's the, in the same way that the word sun refers to this yellow thing illuminated in the sky that shines and gives heat, off heat, what is the label body referring to in your actual experience, not as a concept, but your actual experience? And just feel that. What is the body? Feel your way into the answer to that question. There really is no answer to the question, but let yourself discover there is no answer by feeling your way into the presence of what's here as body. What is the body made of experientially? What are the experiential particles, if you will, that make up the phenomena we call body? We might say that it's made up of sensations, right? We could ask the same question. That's just a word that's referring to what exactly? An experience. Again, not as a concept, but as an experience. What are these sensations made of? See if you can get to the bottom of it. See if you can actually arrive at what the essence is of the body. If you can pin it down and say, here it is, this is what the body is made of. Fundamentally, what is its nature? It's very curious because there's clearly something being felt, something being, we could say, sensed, something that's present, right? But when we go to look for it, we can't exactly find it. We can't exactly locate it. We can't exactly discern what it is. In other words, we can't actually determine what the body is experientially, which is really astonishing. It's here, but not able to be determined as to what it actually is. It's pure mystery, pure unfathomability. Concretely here, concretely present. You know, you can even put your hands and touch your body, the sensation of touch. Very palpable, isn't it? It's like, yeah, it's here. It's not insubstantial. But the most substantial thing, the sense of touch, what is that sensation? It's so subtle and yet so concretely here at the same time. This is very paradoxical, but very much the nature of our experience. Substantially, concretely, something is present. Experience is present. It shows up in all the ways that it does, all of the flavors and textures and qualities of experience. We could look at anything just as we've been looking at the body. Any flavor, any texture, any phenomena. And the investigation reveals just what we were just exploring, which is it can't be said, it can't be determined what anything is, which is absolutely an amazing thing, extraordinary thing. In a sense, you could say that nothing is there, but that's not quite, that doesn't quite capture it. I mean, nothing captures it in terms of words, of course, is what I'm saying. But in a way, nothing is inadequate because as an attempt to describe it, because it shows up, this inconceivable indeterminacy shows up as all of this flavor, all of this quality, all the qualities that we experience as humans. The happiness, the sadness, the pleasure, the pain, the heat, the cold, the roughness, the smoothness, the intensity, the gentleness. I mean, all of these, this absolute, this full spectrum of human qualitative experience is just unthinkably full and rich and alive, and yet at the same time ungraspable, unfindable, unpin downable simultaneously, which doesn't make any logical sense. I mean, how could it be both those things? But it is. Our experience reveals that. And why is this liberating, as I said earlier? Well, even the very notion of bondage itself, which spiritual traditions the world over talk about freeing yourself from bondage. Bondage is a description, isn't it, of something being bound in something else. So the entire framework of being bound and then needing to liberate oneself from that bondage is entirely based on descriptive frameworks, isn't it? But as I was just pointing out, you can't find, just as you can't pin down and determine what a body is made of, and in a sense, it's not thinkable, not conceivable, not findable as a thing, as a discretely definable, resolvable thing. This is true of what we might call bondage, or being stuck in something, or caught in something. What is the thing that we're supposedly caught in? Is it an identity? Is it a belief system? Is it an experience, like an afflictive state of mind or emotion? Well, all of those things, when investigated, you come up with the same thing, which is indeterminacy. You come up with the same bottomless bottom line, which is you can't say what anything is. And so there isn't actually a thing there that's findable that one could be stuck in, nor a person who could be found to be stuck in something. So there's just wide open inconceivability, would be one way to put it. Absolute, wide open, open-ended indefinability. Nothing finite. Nothing finite in the sense of being bounded in some way and definable in some way. So it's completely unlimited, infinite. This moment, just as it is. The most ordinary of moments. Completely absolute pure mystery. Pure freedom. Freedom from all frameworks, from all ideas, from all apparent limitations. And I think it's fair to say that the only obstacle to recognizing that, if we want to say there's an obstacle, is the way in which consciousness continues to imagine its descriptions are actually capturing something findable. In other words, put it a little bit more colloquially, it's as if we keep telling ourselves, consciousness keeps telling itself that it's actually bound, that it's actually limited. That's a description. And that's really actually not the case. And that can be seen by, again, just feeling the presence of our experience and realizing there is no bondage, there is no obstacle, there is no one thing blocking something else. There's just pure openness in every instant. No matter how the description is showing up, the greatest heartbreak and sadness, pure inconceivable openness, infinity, the most blissful, ecstatic moment, exactly the same. At its basis, exactly the same.